Welcome back to HRNHQ. I'm Ed DeRosa, joined by our fearless leader at Horse Racing Nation, Mark Midland, ahead of a big weekend, Mark. Pegasus World Cup, $3 million race, grade one, and for us, the kickoff of a pretty good promotion.
Yeah, we're excited about that. But first, Pegasus, great race, great card, lots to dig into. But yeah, our promotion for the Super Screener, best way to dig into play big races like this. It's got all the big graded stakes races, analysis on every horse, tickets, and how to play each of the races. You can get the Super Screener now every week between the Pegasus through all the Derby preps, all the way up to the Derby for the special offer of $97. It includes some great bonuses too.
Absolutely, including power picks, which is not just a weekend thing, but an everyday thing.
hmm
Horses to single as well. And I tweeted at EJXD2 yesterday in 2023, Gulfstream Park, Tampa Bay. So if you're a Florida player, just two of the 8 tracks, positive ROI, flat bet on the horses to single from those tracks. So it's not just about Super Screener on the weekend, but great information every day, great content every day at Horse Racing Nation, including videos such as this. And
So
I actually do not know who you landed on as a top pick, but regardless of who your top pick is in this race, I do think wagering wise, there's a lot of opportunity vertically or horizontally.
absolutely, and I know you've got some great stats on the mile and eighth at
I
Gulfstream, and it's
do.
it's a tough post right on the outside, and we've seen races where the outside horses get really compromised. So if there's one piece of advice I have for this race is start looking inside. I was just telling Ed
Not
before we
too far inside, maybe,
yeah.
though,
Yeah, it
as we see.
depends. It depends. Okay, so we would definitely agree that post, 8, 9, and out, you're starting to get really compromised. And I just go back to Nick's Go a couple years ago, the one he won. Uh, the top inside five horses, they all finished in the top six spots. I
Mhm.
think that's kind of be a common occurrence with the Pegasus, and I think that's the kind of thing. So I think if you're looking at the outside horses like Stiletto Boy or some of the others, they're going to have a tough time.
I think, and I did mention not too far inside, and the numbers aren't great on the rail. Now it's just a 26 horse sample size, so not huge. But proxy, I think not only against it, maybe on the rail from a win standpoint, but also pace. But I mentioned the wagering strategy, and I think he's a key part of it. It's impossible to think, given all the speed that is in the race, and that he'll have every opportunity to save ground at least into the first turn, that he doesn't crash the super.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, Proxy's doing so great. He ran so well on the Clark. Love that Rosario got him closer that day. And, he will save some ground on the first turn. I think we've just seen this before at Gulfstream is, can see him crying out for room. He's got a short stretch, going to have a short stretch to close into, probably have a lot of horse, and win or lose, I think he's going to be life and death to get through a hole to get up there in time. So I think that's the danger of betting proxy, and the odds maybe will help determine the bet.
Right. Well, for me, definitely going to fade him on top, along with Cyberknife. It's a great pick five sequence. All Pegasus pick three. Only day you get to say that all year with the Pegasus turf races preceding it. But I'm going to go back to my Preakness and Belmont Well and take Skippy Longstocking to win.
Wow.
I like what I figure will be a tracking trip. I was having a discussion with Jeff Bessa, who does our charting horse value
hmm
on Twitter. He was giving a look to Art Collector and was kind of wondering if maybe does he, if you're an Art Collector fan at a big price here, do you want him to try to rate? And my thinking was, no, if you're in it to win with Art Collector, you want a gun and just see what happens with the funded. I happen to think that won't be good enough and he'll back out of it. And I think that sets up for Skippy Longstocking. So that's what I envisioned to get Skippy in the winner's circle. I was a little disappointed to see he was 5-1 on the morning line.
Don't worry, he won't be 5 to
I,
1.
I was thinking he'll be a little higher than that. So
Yeah,
I think he's going to be my play because he was 5-1 on my fair odds, which means I'm hoping for 6 or 8 to 1.
right. And I think that's a great pick. I like where he's going to be. He's probably going to be pressing too wide. He's probably going to be tracking the pace, and I think he's going to get his shot. I'm leaning a little more towards the inside horses, but I am afraid that they're just going to have a hard time getting out of there.
Right.
And so I do think you want to take a look at not only proxy but simplification and White Abaro from posts 2 and 4. Um, but Defunded, could get out, control this race quite a bit. So
Hmm.
I might have to go on Defunded on top. I hate to say that, but I don't know that Cyberknife is going to be quite as fast enough to get to him. And with Art Collector, I hear what you're saying, but Art Collector is just not fast enough to run with a horse like this. We've seen it before. He's tried, Nick's Go and the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile,
Yeah.
and he couldn't keep up. And
Oh yeah, I want no part of him.
yeah,
But I mean,
so I think with Cyberknife, they've got to try to at least get to his flank and press him a little bit in case nobody else does. We got this riding with Biden on the inside. I mean, could he, you can kind of slingshot that rail if you really press and try to hold that inside position. And I think that would create the challenge for Defunded to really open this up. But I'm really kind of focusing on those inside horses. I think Skippy's a good play. Um, I thought Get Her Number ran a dynamite race last time, but it's just, now you're starting to get outside and you're coming around horses. You don't
and
have
nine
that stretch.
furlongs in that case.
Yeah, I just don't. So I think the play here is start fading on the outside. I agree with you, fading Cyberknife, start fading. I guess they're more long shots, but Last Samurai, Stiletto Boy, O'Connor, and some of those. Um, it's going to be a dynamite betting race.
No, I'm like it. It's a rare situation for me because usually when I don't like a horse and the way I play, and maybe I'm overly emphasized with the pick ends. And I was telling you, I really want to focus when there is opportunity on the verticals. And for me, Proxy on top, no interest at all. But I thought his Clark was awesome. Super Screener, which we mentioned earlier, with that special that's going on starting this week. The impresario of that, Mike Shuddy, I know is giving Proxy a look. Won't say how much of a look, but he's definitely factoring. And I just think underneath, it's hard to imagine with all the pace, all those horses aren't going to stick around, and he has the rail. So how does he
Right.
not slide in there at some
Yeah.
point? For me, the question is, well, how high do you want to rank them where you're still getting value? So definitely not the win spot, but
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think in pick fours, pick fives, I'm probably going to look at Proxy, Defunded, and Simplification and White Abario, and and see if one of those trip out on the inside. I think that's going to be a real dangerous spot. It depends how much um, the Defunded gets pressed on the front, but and if they don't press Defunded enough, then I think we know the answer. It's not going to stop. So
no, he's
it's that's going to be the challenge. My fear with Proxy, with that post is that he's going to be in like that third wave, and then there's too much that has to happen that he's to
right.
get through. Now, if Rosario uses him into that first turn, and he can kind of be in that second wave where he's only got to worry, if he's right behind Defunded a couple links, I think he'll get out of there, and I think he's going to be really dangerous. So I definitely want to use him in the horizontals. But if you had, gun to the head, I think Defunded's probably the most likely winner.
And you're off Cyberknife.
Yeah, I think he'll be the favorite. Don't you agree?
I do.
Yeah, and
I mean, I've
so
seen some maybe defunded buzz, but I can't see how Cyberknife is because looking at the buyers, which like it or not, drive wagering, he has the
yeah,
three triple digits back to back to back and second in the dirt mile. Like, just I don't see how he's not the favorite.
yeah. And what do you think about? Have you thought about exacta trifecta here?
I think with Skippy, if I'm going to use, I do like Proxy more underneath than I would say I would Cyberknife. So in that, with those two key horses, it's hard to say, oh, Cyberknife's the other one I want in there
Right.
because that won't pay much. But I do think Simplification is a little sneaky, who you mentioned. If
Hmm.
Get Her Number wins and Proxy is there, I wouldn't want to be ripping up tickets because of Cyberknife. So it's one of those, really putting in the time of, okay, what can happen that's going to be an overlaid result. And
Hmm.
I think there are some that exist with Cyberknife underneath, but if Skippy wins, to me, that should be enough for me, given
Yeah,
my opinion.
there you go. It's as long as it's not 5-1.
Yeah,
But
which I don't think it will be.
no, not at all. Let me ask you this: what are the chances that the top three favorites, being Defunded, Cyberknife, and Proxy, make up the exacta?
Definitely underlaid, I would say.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that would be those combinations I wouldn't be looking
Yeah.
to play under any circumstance. And with Cyberknife, it's kind of a Breeders' Cup angle I use, but I think it's in play with him. I don't understand the rush to stud,
Hmm.
given all the other horses who are at stud in the competition he has. Now, I believe he is by Gun Runner, so that's somewhat of a novelty since he's from his first or second crop. But it just seems like he could be such a player as an older male, and they're going to stud after this. I don't like the vibe, and at 2 to 1, I'm happy to take my shot against.
Yeah, sometimes when they're just throw it, oh, we could do the extra race, it's not really as well intended. I mean, with Proxy, you got to admit, like, this horse has really been prepped for this off of the Clark. This was the target.
And he's going to continue to run.
Yeah.
So, whereas, like, I think of a horse like City of Light, who is a successful stallion and went to stud right after the Pegasus. Well, he won the Dirt Mile, and Accelerate was a big horse that year who won the Classic. So I understood why he wasn't in the Classic. He won the Dirt Mile, and then he came to this race. Whereas Cyberknife, just 3, has room to improve.
Right.
Coming off a Dirt Mile also ran. It's just not quite the same to me, and at a short price, I'm going to try to beat him.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't like the post as well, and but one thing I was going with the trifecta though is, like, if you look at Defunded and Proxy, maybe those two, there's a high percentage chance the winner comes from those two. You throw in Cyberknife for the exacta, and then you put under a simplification, a White Abario, a Get Her Number. I think you got a nice trifecta.
Yeah.
It's not illogical.
No.
And I don't think it's underlaid too badly, but we'll have to see based on
Who's Lucas's horse?
Samurai. Last
Samurai. Okay.
Yeah.
Dettori,
Yeah.
who I believe is talking to Lanfranco for his podcast this week,
All right.
had me look it up, and I wasn't surprised, but still, when you see it, given the Titans they are, this will be the first time they've ever teamed up together.
Really? That's interesting.
So
yeah, well, Dettori is no more for turf racing.
Absolutely, yeah. So, well, like I said, it wasn't like, oh, I'm so surprised they've never. But you would, just one of those novelties at Breeders' Cup, like, oh, Dettori's available, Lucas got him, but he got him this time, and hopefully someone will get that picture, because that's, two legends of what they've done.
There you go.
It's cool. I don't know if it'll lead to a win, but
we had D. Wayne in this office not too long ago.
Really?
For a video cast, yeah, it was great.
Wow.
With Dale and Joe
man.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's I think Last Samurai and Get Her Number are nice horses that are improving, and I think could be interesting horses this year. I just kind of see them getting a tough trip here, and so I think that's something else to watch is who gets a bad trip, and can you bet these horses back?
Yeah, well, we won't be betting Cyberknife back.
Yeah.
But in case things don't go as well as we're hoping they do Saturday, and we really need to pay some bills, why don't you remind everyone of the offer we have coming up with Super Screener?
Yeah, absolutely. We're really excited offering Super Screener, and you get the Pegasus World Cup, the turf races, all the stakes on the card, and also we got the Derby Prep at Oaklawn this week, all the way every weekend, all the way through up to Derby. Get that plus power picks every day, horses to single every day. It's just great to be able to lean on those picks every day, and it's a great offer at only $97. Can't beat it.
It's a great price, and it's at picks.horseracing.com, and we are at Horse Racing Nation HQ in downtown Louisville. You're going to the Holy Bull next week.
I am.
Ron is at the Pegasus this week, so we'll have the action covered at Gulfstream. We'll certainly be playing along on social media at HR_Nation. I'm at EJXD2. He's not anywhere on Twitter, but
not enough.
If you tell me you had a big score off the opinion you have, we'll certainly share it with everybody.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, everybody.
All right, he's Mark. I'm Ed. Good luck.